Hello, I'm Tracy Grimshaw. Welcome to A Current Affair. There are many questions surrounding the terrible shootings in Las Vegas this week, and they all revolve around the motive and character of the killer, Stephen Paddock. His girlfriend, Marilou Danley, is an Australian citizen who has family here. He also had another Australian friend, and today Adam Lefevre told us about his time with Paddock. In this world-exclusive interview, he talked to Chris Allen about the penthouse holidays, the high-roller lifestyle, and the gun room.
It is a very chilling thought to know that the person that is at the centre of the world's largest story at the moment is somebody that I knew, somebody that I was welcomed into their home, into their family, into their life, and I just can't believe it.
I guess you could say you have known and looked evil in the face without knowing it.
Chris, you're right, I guess, and I haven't thought of it in that way, but because I don't see bad in people.
Aussie businessman Adam Lefevre holidayed with mass murderer Stephen Paddock 3 times. Adam's former partner Liza was sister to Marilou Danley, who lived with Paddock. Did you like him?
I would say I liked Stephen Paddock at the time. From what I saw, I had no reason not to like him.
But that all changed when Adam realised his old friend had turned killer.
Well, Adam, you've never seen this, I gather. This is body cam footage taken from the police on the night of the shooting. It's quite confronting, I guess. You can hear the gunfire. And
if only more people would have been able to secure some cover like that.
Adam says he's tried not to watch the coverage of the carnage Paddock caused in just 10 minutes with an arsenal of high-powered rifles.
I have deliberately stayed right away from all, particularly Australian media, because it's just given me time to take stock of what really has happened.
And it must be sickening for you to watch this knowing that you know who's behind those guns.
And these people that were involved here didn't know what's going on, and we sit here and I know the person pulling that trigger. It's a horrible thought. It's a horrible thought. I met Stephen Paddock first in 2013 when I travelled to the Philippines with my former partner, and her sister was associated and was a partner of Stephen Paddock.
Adam spent time with Paddock twice in the Philippines and once in the US.
We travelled to Vegas, to Las Vegas, and that's where we met Steve and Mary Lou again.
You spent time with him alone?
Steve and I spent time alone. Steve was very generous. Because of his high-rolling success in gambling, he clearly had no problem in letting you know, I'm not a gambler, I'm a high roller. We were spoilt. We really were spoilt, and I've never experienced anything like it before or since.
This photo of Paddock, his partner Mary Lou and Adam's partner Liza was taken by Adam in a suite in Vegas, a suite paid for by Paddock. And Adam says Paddock told him the perks of high rollers extended to free call girls.
I did have no questions that some of those offers had been accepted, yes.
You went to his home. What was it like?
It was a modest, new, 2-bedroom home. But as we walked through that small area, Steve said bedroom, lounge room, and gun room. And he said, well, you know, most people in the US have firearms and they need to be protected. And of course, you don't want firearms falling into the hands of the wrong people. Now, retrospectively, I wish I had picked up on that earlier. That's incredible.
Because quite clearly that's what's happened here.
Quite clearly, and it's just disbelief.
This photo was taken from Adam's drone above Paddock's backyard. It's the same house police raided as soon as they knew the killer's identity.
I took this photograph with one of my drones whilst clearly you can see Steve Paddock and I in the backyard of his property. And, this is the property that I believe has been on the media that had been raided.
And this is where he told you he had a gun room.
This is the house that Stephen Paddock told me that was his gun room.
Adam says he knew Paddock liked to go shooting, but he didn't see any of the guns Paddock collected to carry out his murderous rampage. And when you talked to him about guns and gun laws, what did he tell you?
He was very strict and very firm on the fact that it is a right, it is a capacity, and it's the freedom of every American resident and person to participate, to own a gun and use it as seen fit where need be, and that law should never be changed. I'm a great believer in you don't pick an argument that you can't win, and when in Rome, be respectful. I left that well alone from there on.
How would you describe his relationship with Mary Lou?
The relationship it's not what I saw as a loving, caring relationship. I'd experienced Steve talking to Mary Lou in a bit of an abrupt manner at times, and Liza and I, away from them, had questioned as to whether everything was smooth sailing with them. Mary Lou, as I said, a lovely girl, seemed very nervous and jittery around Steve. He would talk in a more of a condescending way at times, and I thought, whilst concerned, was prepared to dismiss it as to be that's his nature.
When the shooting rampage happened, Mary Lou was visiting family in the Philippines, a trip organised by Paddock. Now back in the States, Mary Lou has been interviewed extensively by police and hasn't spoken publicly, leaving her lawyer to read her statement.
It never occurred to me in any way whatsoever that he was planning violence against anyone.
Obviously now she's been interviewed by the FBI, by the authorities. So. I guess most people find it hard to believe that she had no idea of what was going on here. But do you believe her?
I would believe that absolutely without any doubt, that Mary Lou would have had no knowledge of what Stephen Paddock was able to plan and ultimately succeed, and it would have been planned. This is not just something he's done at the spur of a moment. And I think I know Mary Lou and the family well enough, a very, very good Catholic Christian family, very caring, and all of them, a very loving family. And I believe that if Mary Lou had the slightest inkling that there was something not right, and certainly to the magnitude of what's occurred, that she would have attempted to intervene and have had shared that with her family, who in turn would have been able to potentially make a change.
He dispatched her to the Philippines, or gave her a ticket to go to the Philippines to visit a family?
Yes.
And then wired $100,000?
I don't find that unusual, but for that particular case, certainly if somebody said, I'd like to wire you $100,000, I would find that to be unusual, and I'm not aware of anybody else who transfers lots of $100,000 to anybody at any time. But from Steve Paddock to do that, I don't believe that's unusual.
The investigation into the mass shooting is now looking into whether Paddock acted alone. A room service receipt indicating there may have been someone else in the hotel suite with him. Do you think he acted alone?
As a result of having an association with the worst mass murderer in US history, I've purposely left news feeds off my phone, haven't been able to go to the news, and I'm a big consumer of news and media, I really am. If he's killed 60 people, impacted 520, 530, we're talking nearly 600 people that have been impacted by weapons. To get all of that weaponry and arsenal within a confined space of a hotel room, how do you get that into that one area? How do you do that without some other knowledge, without somebody knowing or being suspicious? I'm at a loss at that, Chris. I really am. The planning that has gone into this terrible, horrible occurrence has been nothing other than with military precision. And that does not surprise me with Stephen Paddock, because everything he did seemed to be with precision planning.
Is it eerie now to look back on this and see it set up in a hotel room?
It's quite difficult for me, I must say, to think, if I stop and think, that I've been in the presence of a number of times of this chap, Stephen Paddock, who's caused the biggest mass murder in the history of the US of A. It's just beckons belief.
Hard to get your head around.
Very hard. I don't have a lot of photographs of Steve. He was that little conservative that he was not the type of guy that would run to the front to get the photograph taken.
He's well and truly in the spotlight now as experts trawl through his life, trying to work out why this retired accountant, who became a professional gambler, planned a mass murder.
I don't think we'll ever know. What we can only pray and hope for is that the world doesn't have to experience this terrible occurrence again. And if we can learn from it in some way of what was it that pushed this individual, Stephen Paddock, over the edge to carry out such an unthinkable, terrible act, is that's all we can hope for.
Does it make you feel almost ill, if you like, now to think that you did enjoy this man's hospitality?
It's an uncomfortable feeling, but one that neither of us can reverse the time. And at the time, there's not a chance in the world that I would have thought that this person, and in fact to think, it's unthinkable to think that anybody in their right mind would consider perpetrating such a terrible crime. It's just unthinkable.
Stephen Paddock's younger brother Eric is reportedly in talks with a major US news organisation to secure the rights to an exclusive interview to help him raise $1 million for the massacre victims.